known lake in the Canadian Rockies. This upper Waterton Lake is half a mile wide and 7 miles long for 11 kilometers, 2-mile-an-hour mark. Now, historically, November and January can be our windiest months, where wind gusts have been reached in excess of 160 kilometers an hour, or right around that 100-mile-an-hour mark. Have a look at those cottonwood trees to the right-hand side of the boat, in particular those just up from the edge of the lake. You're going to notice they have a lean from the south towards the north in the place. Then later on in the construction, once again it was blown out of plumb, but they felt to do any correction at that time would cause more structural harm than good. As a result, there's very little at Square and Plum in the Prince of Wales Hotel, and it's rumored that's the reason why when the wind blows they can't slow down so everybody can have a good look and a photo op should they desire. Now yesterday, I guess I'm sort of sorry to let you folks know, we had a great bear sighting. The bear was swimming across the lake. We shut alcohol with the doctor's prescription. So Bertha, being a rather enterprising woman, took it upon herself to print up some of those prescriptions and sell them to people. And I guess she had quite a thriving business going too, you know, right up until the time she got arrested and put into jail. But she later returned to the town site to find she had a mountain named after her, a lake, 2 waterfalls, and a bay named after her. So, you know, I'm thinking that Bertha was pretty much loved by her customers indeed. Incidentally, that's the only mountain in this upper Waterton Valley that's named after a woman. And of course, most of the ladies go, oh, isn't that typical? And is left over from the last glaciation period. While I'm talking about fish, anybody in the mood for a fish story on a beautiful Monday afternoon like this? Do you folks have any imagination to use this afternoon? Because if you do, I got a rock formation to point out for you. Have a look to the right-hand side of the boat to the very top of Mount Richards. Now the area of rock I'm going to talk about starts in the extreme right-hand side, works its way left to just shy of the midway point. Starting from the right, moving left, you see that first rounded portion, followed by those 2 smaller bumps, followed by the larger triangle shape. And from the triangle shape where it slopes back, that's the area of rock I want you to stare at for a moment. Do you see the outline of an upturned face looking up towards the sky? Starting from the right, moving left, first rounded portion is a chin. These 2 smaller bumps of the lips. The larger triangle shape is a nose, and from the nose where it slopes back, that's where you can almost see the dip in the rock. Everybody's picking that up?
Yes.
Prior to being called Mount Richards, that was known as horses owned by a lumber company that operated a sawmill from this bay. Now there's nothing remaining in the sawmill which once existed there, but that team of horses got away from the owners one winter, ventured on the ice around that point and went through the ice. That's where Dead Horse Point got its name from. It's interesting, one of the park wardens told me in Sawmill Bay is a lone apple tree. There is no earthly reason for an apple tree. And underneath the water, everybody's picking out the orange painted line in the lake right now? No? That's good, because there is no orange painted line. Fun, folks. But if you have a look to the right-hand side of the boat, you're going to see the continuation of the border as it lies. Where the border exists, it must be visible. So there's trees that'll cut it. Long grass, I guess that gets cut a little bit shorter. When there's essentially nothing at all, they'll erect these markers or obelisks. In this area, that border swath was first cleared in the 1930s. In the 1960s, they experimented with a chemical defoliant called Oregon, which is very similar in quality to Agent Orange. After the public outcry using such a nasty poison in the national park, this border now is cleared entirely by hand. As a crew years, chainsaws, axes, brush cutters, and cut it accordingly. Kind of interesting.
Oh, this is
for that mountain
the end of Canada, and this is
which roughly
going to
translated means needles that touch the heavens.
USA. We're going to the border of USA.
Nasa US na kami. pala yun yun.
Oh.
And just like that, I'd like to welcome everybody to the great state of Montana. And I
Great
dare
state
say
of
that was probably one of
Montana.
the easiest border crossings most of us have had in quite some time. The international boundary very much a part of why this area was declared an international peace park. And they don't work together. And they must have been a very powerful lobby group indeed, because what they were asking the government to consider had never been done before. Since 1932, there's been over 100 peace parks declared worldwide. However, this area has the distinction of being the first, as a symbol of friendship and unity between Canada and the United States. That border we just crossed is the longest undefended border in the world. And given the political climate in the world these days and all the crazy things that are going on, I think that's something we can all be a little proud of. Now, if you have a look to the within the walls, why they would hunt and fish in this upper Waterton Valley, they would not reside here. They felt the wind was a signal to them. It was not intended for them to do so. Now, present day circumstances. In the form of brown-colored trees and bare ground. That's where we had a forest fire 2 seasons ago. And I appreciate when you're looking at it, it doesn't really look like it was all that significant. But at the time, the concern was that fire could go right down the valley to the town site. In fact, in the town site, we were put under a 1-hour. That's actually the boathouse for this vessel, the International. That's a site where it was built 90 years ago by the Great Northern Railway Company. And of course, a building currently used by us to house it over the winter time. So about the 3rd week of September, what happens is we're going to seat and just remain seated till we're safely tied up and you get the all clear signal from us to begin to disembark. I'll just remind you folks, we are in a national park.
We're here. We're here in the US. We're here at the border of Montana.
Also, if anybody would like to stay on the boat, you're more than welcome to do that. We're going to go out in the bay and cruise around to the
Let's
other
go.
lands.
Let's go. We have until 2:25. 2:15.
Pagpasok, dapat dito na tayo. Ay, dito tayo.
Dito pa rin. Kasi ang balik niya, di ba pa ganon? Dapat kung saang side ka, kanina yun pa rin. Kasi ikot na siya. Nagwa-washroom. Mag-hiking na kami.
Buntis, nag-hiking.
Ano nga, hanggang...
Isa sila. Ano na nila? Kasi yung isa naman. Pinadaang muna to. Hindi kayo naikinig eh. Di ba sabi niya na, you will see that we are leaving the dock, but don't worry.
We'll be back before...
Finally, US. Pagbalik piya.
Sampaling ka rin yan.
Kung tayo ba picture na tayo sa kanya?
Pa-picture tayo doon.
Kunyari na mga picture.
Pwede, no, pwede yan. Akit tayo doon.
Customs and Immigration Inspection.
Akit tayo doon, hindi na.
Hanggang 5. Hanggang 5:30 lang balik tayo na sa isla. Tao dyan.
Kinza, look at that.